Now, the enemy, he's got other plans. and this is so true. You look at the enemy's tactics. They are very clear. Usually what the devil tries to do is attack us on one of two fronts when it comes to the area of self-control. I'm going to put it right up there on the screen. He's going to either tempt us to boast about our control, our self-control. Boy, have you noticed how self-controlled I am? I'm really doing well compared to old so-and-so, you know. Or to drive us to despair and say, I've blown it so many times. I must be a horrible Christian because I'm wrestling with this and I've wrestled with it for years. The enemy loves to just dig his claws into us. And what God desires to do is to declaw him and renew us. When I look at the scriptures here, Galatians chapter 5, the fruit of the Spirit is self-control. I see God saying his Holy Spirit is the one who produces this. This is not something we do in our own power. Don't get me wrong, we are to cooperate with the Holy Spirit. We are saved purely by grace. We don't cooperate in anything other than receive what God pours out by faith. But when it comes to our Christian walk, we are to cooperate with the Holy Spirit, but we also recognize the power comes from him. Self-control, enkrateia, the word that the apostle uses here in Galatians 5:23. If you're into biblical trivia, that word enkrateia is used in 3 other places in the New Testament. But there's another word that is used repeatedly in the New Testament that also means self-control. Enkrateia speaks especially, as Paul describes it here, about the inner strength that enables us to control our appetites. The other word is sophron, and it speaks about sober, sound judgment. In fact, Paul, writing to Timothy and to Titus, talks about leaders needing to possess self-control, sound judgment that God gives. And not only leaders, but he says older men, you need to strive for self-control. And then he says, and by the way, older women, you need to teach the younger women about self-control. And he says, while we're on the subject, you young men, you need self-control. God is not saying, get self-control in your own strength. He's saying, I offer it through my Holy Spirit, and I desire to pour it out into your life. And rather than letting the enemy drive you to despair, or the enemy drive you into being an arrogant and pompous pain in the, God says, follow me. Follow me and watch what I will do in you. He is a good and gracious God.